A Forsyth mother says her daughter's health is improving every day since they moved to Colorado to start a medical treatment that is illegal here in the Peach State. Janaea Cox tells us cannabis oil is giving Haley a second chance at life, and she'll do whatever it takes to help her child, even if that means leaving her husband and family behind until Georgia lawmakers pass a bill that can bring them home.
Who is this? Is that Mr. Bear?
Inside this Colorado Springs home.
See your buddy? Yeah.
Janaea Cox heard her 5-year-old daughter Haley say mama for the first time.
I cried really hard because we've always been told that she would never talk, walk, sit on her own, do anything. She's changing right before our eyes, and it's amazing.
In March, Janaea made the tough decision to leave her husband behind in Forsyth and move almost 1,500 miles to Colorado with Haley so she could start her cannabis oil treatment.
It's been hard on our family. It puts a strain on you financially and emotionally.
Janaea says the move is worth it. Before Haley started taking the medicine, she was having more than 200 seizures a day. She's now gone 8 seizure-free days in a row, thanks to the treatment she receives 5 times a day.
She's become more alert. She smiles all the time, which we never used to see her smiling.
But that smile and all of Haley's huge health improvements come with a price.
Haley can't go back home. We've been banned from Georgia since we started this medicine.
A state lawmaker who calls himself an unlikely champion is trying to fix that.
It hit me that, if this was my granddaughter, if this was my daughter, I would move heaven and earth to pass legislation to provide access to medicine that would maybe help her.
After a medical cannabis bill failed during this past legislative session, State Representative Alan Peake is making it his mission to bring Haley and other medical refugees who left Georgia seeking treatment back home.
Let's come up with a better bill, learn from other states, and come up with the best piece of medical cannabis legislation that we can, maybe the best one in the country.
Peake's proposed bill would legalize an oil form of medical marijuana high in CBD, which is a medicinal property of the plant, and low in THC, so the patient can't get high. It would be a heavily regulated system with tight security that issues a limited number of licenses for growers, processors, and distributors of the oil in Georgia.
We want to make sure we're sending the clear message that we are not becoming the state of Colorado. We are not opening up Georgia to a black market of marijuana.
Law enforcement says if lawmakers can help these families, then they should, as long as this doesn't lead the state down a slippery slope.
We want to make sure it's correct, and it doesn't, get to lead to the recreational use of marijuana. We're 100% opposed to that.
Peake says that won't happen. The lawmaker adds this bill could benefit patients with all kinds of serious medical conditions, ranging from chronic pain to cancer.
While it was initially geared toward children with seizure disorders, if it's a part of the plant that is not going to cause any psychoactive effect on an individual, then we ought to allow it to be all citizens to have access to it.
If legalized, you would first have to go to a qualified doctor who would determine if you meet the serious medical conditions. Then the doctor could recommend the cannabis oil for treatment. You would get a red card similar to this one and take it to a distributor to buy the oil. That could cost you up to $400 per month, and it's not covered by insurance.
We want to provide a safe, effective, and a timely medicine to people that need it.
If the bill passes, you won't see marijuana warehouses and shops right away.
Once that happens, then they'll have to set up a regulatory scheme. So, that takes months to do.
Warner Robins native Jason Cranford is joining the fight to legalize medical marijuana. He moved to Colorado 5 years ago to research and study cannabis oil. He created a strain called Haley's Hope and says he's seeing great results.
Sometimes it makes me cry because, it's like witnessing a miracle. These parents are at the end of their rope, and then when they see a child turn around like this and think that there is hope, it's really touching.
For now, Janaea keeps her husband and Georgia on her mind.
We want to go home. You want to go home?
And hope alive.
We'll stay out in Colorado till Georgia does the right thing for us.
Until the family is reunited in Forsyth. Peake plans to introduce the bill during the first week of the new legislative session that starts in January. He hopes the House and Senate can pass the bill and get it to the governor's desk for a signature by March 1st. Once signed, there would be an immediate immunity for families who left the state seeking treatment to come home. But it is still against federal law to transport marijuana across state lines, so Peake says those families are taking a risk. Peak hopes those who would benefit from cannabis oil could have access to it by the end of next year. One of the big questions during this whole debate is, what are the long-term side effects of using cannabis oil? As far as researchers and experts can tell, there are none. But they're currently conducting studies in Colorado and hope to have more information in the next year. A documentary called Growing Hope is premiering tonight in Dallas, Georgia. It showcases the state's fight to legalize cannabis oil. Peak says plans are in the works to add a few more showings across the Peach State.